Nestled at the crossroads of Central, Eastern, and Southeastern Europe, Romania stands as a country of striking geographical contrasts, a land where towering mountains, vast plains, winding rivers, and ancient forests coexist in remarkable harmony. Romania is a bridge between cultures, climates, and ecosystems, shaped by millennia of geological processes and historical significance. Its geography has not only defined the lifestyle of its people but also the path of its history, acting both as a barrier and a conduit for invasions, trade, and cultural exchange. Romania spans approximately 238,400 square kilometers, making it the 12th largest country in Europe. It borders 5 nations: Ukraine to the north and east, Moldova to the northeast, Hungary to the northwest, Serbia to the southwest, and Bulgaria to the south. But its most distinctive geographical feature is the sweeping arc of the Carpathian Mountains, which form a natural fortress through the heart of the country. The Carpathians divide Romania into 3 major historical and geographical regions: Transylvania to the west, Moldavia to the east, and Wallachia to the south. Let us begin in the Carpathian Mountains, Romania's rugged backbone and the 3rd longest mountain range in Europe. This horseshoe-shaped range stretches over 900 kilometers within Romanian borders and covers about 1/3 of the country's territory. The Carpathians are not just imposing in size but rich in biodiversity and cultural meaning. Home to dense, ancient forests, the Carpathians shelter more than 1/3 of all European brown bears, lynx, and wolves. The forests here, many of them primeval, are among the last remaining in Europe, offering a rare window into the continent's ecological past. Within the Carpathians, numerous subranges rise and fall. The Eastern Carpathians, with their volcanic formations, are geologically younger and less rugged than the Southern Carpathians, also known as the Transylvanian Alps. These southern ranges contain Romania's highest peaks: Moldoviano Peak, standing at 2,544 meters above sea level, and Negoie Peak, close behind. These formidable heights are interspersed with deep valleys, glacial lakes, and high-altitude meadows, giving the region an alpine character. The Western Carpathians, though lower in elevation, are no less dramatic, with limestone ridges, caves, and underground rivers carving their mark into the landscape. The Carpathians gradually yield to the Transylvanian Plateau, a fertile upland basin enclosed almost entirely by mountains. This plateau is one of Romania's most agriculturally productive regions. Rolling hills and patchwork farmland define this area, where wheat, corn, and sunflowers thrive in the temperate continental climate. The plateau is also historically significant. It is the cultural heartland of Transylvania, long contested between various empires and home to medieval towns, fortified churches, and ancient traditions. Its elevation, typically ranging between 300 and 600 meters, gives it a unique microclimate, often cooler and wetter than the lowlands beyond the mountains. To the east of the Carpathians lies Moldavia, a region dominated by the Moldavian Plateau. While it lacks the towering peaks of Transylvania, this landscape has its own quiet majesty. Rolling hills, deep river valleys, and forested ridges characterize the terrain. The Siret and Prut rivers, major tributaries of the Danube, cut through the region, their fertile floodplains nourishing both crops and settlements. The region is rich in loess soils, fine, silt-like particles deposited by ancient winds, which make the land ideal for agriculture, particularly vineyards and orchards. South of the Carpathians sprawls Wallachia, a region that includes the fertile Romanian plain. This vast, flat expanse is Romania's breadbasket, where the country's largest rivers, the Danube, Alt, and Argeș, snake through broad valleys and wide agricultural belts. The Romanian plain is bounded to the north by the Carpathians and to the south by the Danube, which forms the natural border with Bulgaria. It is here, in this vast open plain, that Romania's capital, Bucharest, lies, a bustling metropolis surrounded by fields of wheat, corn, and sunflowers. The Danube River, Europe's second longest, plays a defining role in Romania's geography. It enters the country from the northwest, forms much of its southern border, and then veers eastward toward the Danube Delta, one of the most remarkable wetlands on Earth. The Delta is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a biosphere reserve of immense ecological value. Covering over 5,000 square kilometers, it is Europe's second largest river delta and the most well-preserved. Here, the Danube splits into countless distributaries, creating a maze of lakes, marshes, reed beds, and sandbanks teeming with life. Over 300 species of birds, including pelicans, herons, and cormorants, call the delta home, as do more than 45 species of freshwater fish. To understand the soul of Romania, one must first journey far back, into the mists of prehistory, when the land we now call Romania was a vast canvas of forests, rivers, and mountains. Long before there were borders, kings, or written records, people lived and thrived here, leaving behind traces of their ingenuity in caves, burial mounds, tools, and sacred symbols etched into the earth. This is the ancient foundation upon which modern Romania stands, a foundation carved by prehistoric civilizations, evolving cultures, and a powerful kingdom that would come to defy even the might of Rome, the Dacians. Our story begins over 40,000 years ago, during the Paleolithic era, when the first known humans settled in the territory of present-day Romania. Evidence of their presence is found in the Cave of Bones, Pestera Cuoas, in the southwestern Carpathians, among the oldest remains of anatomically modern humans in Europe. These early hunter-gatherers roamed a wild land dominated by mammoths, cave bears, and saber-toothed cats. They left behind stone tools, bone artifacts, and traces of fire, offering us glimpses into a life of survival, adaptability, and deep connection to the natural world. As the Ice Age waned and the climate began to stabilize, the Neolithic revolution spread into the region. The people of Romania, like many across Europe, transitioned from a nomadic existence to a settled, agrarian lifestyle. With this shift came some of the earliest and most remarkable prehistoric cultures in Europe. Among them, none are more iconic than the Cucuteni Trypillia culture, which flourished between 5200 and 3200 BC across eastern Romania, Moldova, and western Ukraine. The Cucuteni Trypillia people built large, complex settlements, some with thousands of houses arranged in concentric circles, far larger than other Neolithic sites in Europe at the time. They cultivated wheat and barley, raised domesticated animals, and created sophisticated pottery adorned with swirling, symbolic patterns in red, white, and black. Their ceramic art is not only beautiful but profound, rich in abstract symbolism that suggests a spiritual worldview deeply connected to nature and fertility. Some archaeologists believe the Cucuteni culture had early matriarchal social structures, with goddess worship central to their belief systems. The end of this great culture remains a mystery. Was it environmental collapse? Invasion? Assimilation? Whatever the cause, the memory of Cucuteni remains etched into Romania's ancestral fabric. As the Bronze Age dawned around 3500 BC, waves of new people and ideas swept across the Carpatho-Danubian space. Metallurgy took root, bringing tools, weapons, and ornamentation of increasing complexity. Among the most prominent Bronze Age cultures in Romania were the Ottoman, Wittenberg, and Tea cultures, which thrived in Transylvania and the surrounding plains. These cultures constructed hill forts, traded with distant peoples, and buried their dead in elaborate tumuli, often with gold and bronze treasures. It was during the Iron Age, beginning around 1200 BC, that the groundwork for Romania's first true kingdom was laid. By this time, the Thracians, an Indo-European group of tribes, had settled throughout much of the Balkans, including Romania. Out of these Thracians emerged the Geti and Dacians, two closely related tribes who lived primarily in what is now Romania and Moldova. The Dacians, in particular, became the dominant force in the region and would go on to establish a powerful and sophisticated society that rivaled their contemporaries. The Dacians were fierce and independent, known both for their warrior spirit and their spiritual depth. They worshipped a complex pantheon of gods, the most important being Zalmoxis, a deity of immortality, wisdom, and resurrection. Greek historians like Herodotus wrote in awe of the Dacians' belief that death was not the end, but merely a transition to a better life, a conviction that made them fearless in battle. The Dacians built fortified settlements known as Davii throughout the Carpathians, particularly in the Oresti Mountains, where stone fortresses like Sarmizegetusa Regia still stand today, hidden within dense forests and misty hills. Sarmizegetusa was not just a military bastion, it was a cultural and spiritual capital. Archaeological remains show advanced Dacian architecture, stone terraces, astronomical sanctuaries, water systems, and complex fortifications. The circular sanctuary at Sarmizegetusa, often compared to Stonehenge, suggests that the Dacians possessed knowledge of astronomy and cosmology. Their cities were strategically located, well-planned, and integrated with the natural landscape, revealing a society deeply attuned to both war and wisdom. By the 1st century BC, the Dacians had consolidated into a kingdom under the rule of Burebista, the first known king of Dacia. Burebista united various Dacian tribes and expanded his domain across the Danube into modern-day Hungary, Slovakia, and the Balkans. Under his leadership, Dacia became a formidable regional power. He even forged alliances with Greek cities and challenged the influence of Rome and the Celtic tribes in the area. However, after his assassination around 44 BC, the same year as Julius Caesar, the kingdom fragmented into smaller tribal states once again. It would take nearly a century before Dacia rose to its former glory, this time under King Decebalus. Decebalus, whose name means brave as 10, ruled from 87 to 106 CE and is remembered as one of Romania's greatest heroes. He was a skilled diplomat, a cunning strategist, and a leader who inspired deep loyalty from his people. His reign coincided with the growing expansionism of the Roman Empire under Emperors Domitian and Trajan. The Dacians and Romans clashed repeatedly, but it was under Emperor Trajan that the final and most famous conflict occurred. From 101 to 106 CE, the Dacian Wars unfolded, epic campaigns marked by brutal sieges, mountain battles, and complex engineering. The Dacians resisted fiercely, utilizing their mountainous terrain to great advantage, but the superior resources of Rome eventually prevailed. After the capture of Sarmizegetusa and the death of Decebalus, Dacia was annexed as a Roman province. Trajan's conquest was commemorated in one of Rome's most iconic monuments, Trajan's Column, still standing in the heart of Rome. Its intricate carvings depict the Dacian wars in vivid detail, offering insight not only into Roman military might but into Dacian fortresses, dress, weapons, and culture. Though defeated, the Dacians left a permanent mark on Roman identity, and the province of Dacia became a melting pot of Roman, Dacian, and other Balkan peoples. The Romanization of Dacia was swift and deep. Latin became the dominant language, Roman roads were built, cities like Apulum, Napoca, and Drobeta flourished, and Christianity began to take root. Yet, in the Carpathians and other remote regions, Dacian traditions endured. Even today, the Romanian language, derived from Vulgar Latin, contains elements and structure that echo Dacian influence. This unique fusion of Latin and indigenous roots is one of the reasons Romanians often refer to themselves as descendants of Rome and Dacia.